Chapter 1. The Bond That Started It All. Shadow was no ordinary horse. He was wild when James first found him, a young, untamed stallion with fire in his eyes and a spirit that refused to be broken. James had just turned 16 when he first saw the sleek black horse running free through the valley, its coat shining under the summer sun. It took weeks of patience, whispers, and careful steps before Shadow allowed James to touch him. And from that moment on, they were inseparable. Shadow became more than just a horse. He was James's best friend, his confidant, his escape from the world. They raced through open fields, crossed rivers together, and spent countless nights under the stars. As the years passed, life changed. James grew older, responsibilities pulled him away, and the rides became less frequent. But every time James returned to the farm, Shadow was there, waiting. Chapter 2. Time Catches Up. One cold morning, James came back to the farm after months away. Shadow still stood tall, his presence commanding as ever. But there was a difference, a stiffness in his stride, a cloudiness in his once bright eyes. The years had caught up to him. James tried to ignore it. He took Shadow out for a ride, just like the old days. But the gallop was slower, the breaths heavier. Shadow was aging, and James knew deep down that their time together was running short. As winter turned to spring, Shadow's strength began to fade. He no longer ran across the fields. Instead, he walked with careful steps, staying close to the barn. James spent every free moment with him, brushing his coat, feeding him apples, talking to him like he always had. But no amount of love could stop time. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Shadow lay down in the pasture, his breaths slow and deep. James knelt beside him, resting his forehead against the horse's. "You were the best, boy, the best there ever was," he said. Shadow let out a soft breath, his body relaxed, and with one final exhale, he was gone. Chapter 3. The Lonely Days. The farm felt empty without Shadow. The pastures seemed quieter. The wind carried a different kind of silence. James stayed away for a while, unable to face the stall that no longer held his best friend. Weeks turned into months. James threw himself into work, into life, but something was missing. Every time he passed the fields where Shadow once ran, the ache in his chest grew heavier. One evening, as James walked along the fence line, he heard a distant whinny. It was faint, almost like an echo of a memory. He turned toward the sound and saw something small, a young foal standing at the edge of the pasture, alone and shivering. His coat was dark like Shadow's, his eyes filled with the same untamed fire. James's heart clenched. The foal had no brand, no sign of an owner. Just like Shadow all those years ago, he had come from nowhere, searching for something, someone. James knelt down, extending a hand. The foal hesitated, then took a step closer. "Hey there, little guy. You need a home?" he said carefully. The foal nudged his hand, as if answering him. For the first time in months, James smiled. Chapter 4. A New Beginning. The days that followed felt like déjà vu. Gentle steps, whispered words, a bond forming slowly but surely. The foal was different from Shadow, younger, more cautious, but something about him felt familiar. James named him Eclipse, after the way his dark coat blended into the night. As weeks turned into months, Eclipse grew stronger, braver, and one day James saddled him up for the first time. As they rode across the open fields, the wind rushing past them, James could almost hear Shadow's hooves in the distance running alongside them. Love never truly leaves. It just finds a new way to return. Chapter 5. The Spirit Lives On. Eclipse was different from Shadow, but in the quiet moments, James could feel the echoes of his old friend. The way Eclipse flicked his ears when James spoke, how he hesitated before trusting, and most of all, the way he ran. There was something in the way the young horse stretched his legs across the open fields, wild and free, that reminded James of the first time he had seen Shadow all those years ago. But Eclipse wasn't just a reminder of the past. He was his own spirit, full of mischief and curiosity. He would tug at James's shirt when he wasn't paying attention, steal apples from the bucket when James turned his back, and run circles around the farm dog just for fun. One afternoon, as James sat by the fence, watching Eclipse explore the fields, his father approached. "He's got fire in him just like Shadow," his father said, leaning against a wooden post. James nodded. "Yeah, but he's different, too." His father smiled. "That's the beauty of it. Shadow had his time. Now it's Eclipse's turn." James looked at the young foal and felt something he hadn't in a long time. Peace.